This video is brought to you by Brilliant. February 2024 has proven to be one of the most turbulent months in modern Hungarian political history. The headline is that President Katalin Novak, a key ally to Prime Minister Viktor Orban, was forced to step down from her post after serving less than 2 years, as it emerged that she had pardoned a man involved in a child abuse scandal. However, the story extends beyond this. Her resignation has largely failed to diffuse tensions. Instead, other key Orban allies have resigned, and anti-government protests continue, which show no sign of stopping. So in this video, we're going to explain Hungary's recent drama, assess whether the scandal could bring down Viktor Orban, and how it could alter Hungary's political landscape. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay in the loop and be notified when we release new videos. So let's start from the beginning. Prime Minister Viktor Orban has held a tight grip over Hungarian politics since 2010, with his conservative Fidesz party enjoying a strong parliamentary majority and winning every subsequent election with roughly 50% of the vote, something rarely seen in European politics. As a parliamentary system, executive power sits with the Prime Minister, while the President serves as the largely ceremonial head of state, acting as an important figurehead and holding the ability to veto legislation, grant pardons, and so on. The Hungarian President is elected by the Parliament rather than a direct popular vote, so Viktor Orban has pretty much handpicked each president during his term. In 2010, it was Paul Schmidt, a former Olympic gold fencer, who was chosen as head of state. However, in 2012, Schmidt ended up resigning after it was revealed that he had plagiarized his doctoral thesis. Orban would then choose János Áder, a long-time Fidesz politician and former anti-communist dissident, who would serve as president from 2012 to 2022. Once Áder's 2 terms had expired and he could no longer seek re-election, Orban chose Family Affairs Minister Katalin Novak as his pick for new president, making her the first woman and youngest person to hold the post. Novak was seen as a rising star in Fidesz, and even gained a level of international attention before her presidency due to her strongly natalist views, once saying, "Without strong families, there are no strong nations." Much like Orban and Fidesz more generally, Novak had presented herself as a defender of traditional Christian family values and protector of children, the kind of themes that have been used by the Hungarian government to justify significantly cracking down on LGBTQ+ rights. Novak had played an important role in the building of an international conservative network that has helped to boost Viktor Orban's Hungary. For example, she met with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and apparently discussed traditional values and protecting families. She's also hosted the Budapest Demographic Summit, which focused on boosting birth rates and traditional family values, drawing in the likes of former US Vice President Mike Pence and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, who is said to be a good friend of Novak. Now, you might be wondering why this is relevant, but it's precisely this context that has exacerbated this recent scandal. In April 2023, Novak granted a slew of presidential pardons to various convicts as a show of clemency during Pope Francis's visit to Hungary, with a list drafted by the then Justice Minister Judith Varga. The list included a former deputy director of a children's home who was convicted for helping to cover up sexual abuse at the institution. The pardon meant his criminal record was cleared and was allowed to work with children again. It went unnoticed until February this year, when an investigative article revealed the pardon to the public, sparking an instant outcry. The report alleged that the pardoned man has political ties to the Hungarian Reformed Church and the Fidesz party, which could explain the questionable pardon. Amid the backlash, Orban's government tried to settle things by promising a constitutional amendment that would prevent people convicted of crimes against children from receiving pardons. However, this was not enough. Protests continued, and some party loyalists quit the president's team of advisors and publicly criticised her. So, under increasing pressure on Saturday, Novak announced her resignation on February the 10th, admitting she had made a mistake. Meanwhile, Judith Varga, who was supposed to be the leader of the Fidesz list for the upcoming European Parliament elections, chose to completely retire from public life. Following Novak and Varga's resignations, Varga's ex-husband resigned from several state-owned companies, saying, "I don't want for 1 minute to be part of a system in which the real leaders hide behind the skirts of women." The slew of resignations has not stopped there, however, with former government minister and Bishop Zoltán Balog resigning as leader of the Hungarian Reformed Church, since it was supposed to be him who directly lobbied the government for the pardon. In his first direct televised address since the scandal broke out, Orban conceded that 2024 so far couldn't have been worse, adding that Novak's resignation was a nightmare, though resigning was the responsible decision. It comes as no surprise that the scandal has sparked mass protests around the country. On Friday, the day before Viktor Orban gave that speech, and a week after Novak's resignation, around 50,000 protesters gathered in the capital of Budapest, which is said to have the highest turnout for anti-government protests in many years. The key question now remains, is this going to be the scandal that finally ends Orban's near decade and a half at the country's helm? The simple answer is, well, probably not. This is basically for 3 reasons. Firstly, Orban had no direct involvement in the scandal, with the people directly responsible for it swiftly resigning, so he's able to keep some distance between him and the scandal. Secondly, Orban has survived many government crises over the years, and while this seems to be his most severe, he is still the undisputed leader of a party with a constitutional supermajority, meaning that his government is, on paper, as secure as it ever was. Thirdly, if Conservative Fidesz voters are actually fed up with him and his party, there aren't really any viable alternatives for them to turn to. The bloc of liberal opposition parties like the Democratic Coalition and Momentum movement stands in complete ideological opposition, while the far-right Our Homeland movement is just too extreme for most people, to the point that it actually wants to reclaim old Hungarian territory. But that doesn't mean that the scandal is without consequence for Orban. The real problem for him is the fact that it cost him his top 2 young female politicians in an otherwise male-dominated party. Losing Judit Varga with months until the European elections poses a challenge for Fidesz's campaign. And as president, Katalin Novak was key to representing Orban's somewhat isolated government abroad and softening otherwise tense ties with the West. With both of them gone, his government has taken a major blow to its already tarnished international reputation and could leave Hungary in deeper isolation than before. A lot of stuff we talk about in our videos can often seem pretty complicated, especially when we dive deep into detailed data and economics. But there's a fun and easy way for you to learn more about these topics, which doesn't cost thousands of dollars or take years and years of studying. That's because Brilliant is the best way to learn maths, data science, and computer science interactively. And the fun thing is, it doesn't take long to learn either. These complex topics are broken down into small and accessible chunks, designed around your busy schedule, whatever your skill level. That means that if you spend just a few minutes a day, you can gain new knowledge over time, in an actually fun way. As time goes on, you'll get used to that feeling of learning too, because this isn't just about sitting down and reading. Brilliant teaches you by doing, using active learning to teach you the principles of otherwise quite complex topics, and ensuring you understand what's actually going on. So whether you want to brush up on your basic math skills, improve your employment prospects by learning about future technology, or just have fun with coding, then you can check out everything that Brilliant has to offer for free for 30 days by clicking the link below. Plus, the first 200 of you that sign up will get 20% off Brilliant's premium annual subscription. Thanks for your support.